His son set out at dawn. When he arrived at the cottage, the mouse greeted him eagerly, saying, "I am delighted that you have kept your promise to return." The lad blushed with embarrassment and said, "I told my father and brothers that ever since we met, I've not been able to stop thinking about you. But I did not tell them that you are a mouse. Now my father would like to see the kind of bread you bake." "Oh," he moaned, "my cruel brothers will certainly ridicule me when I arrive home tonight empty-handed." "I cannot bear to think of them mocking you. You will not go home empty-handed," said the mouse. "Of course I can bake bread." She clapped her paws, and 100 gray mice appeared as she commanded. "Bring me the finest grains of wheat from the field." Fascinated, the young man stayed all day watching the marvelous effort as the little mouse directed the baking of a fine loaf of wheaten bread. She sang as she worked and enraptured the young man's ears with her music. The afternoon passed so quickly with their cheerful conversation and laughter, the young man hardly noticed that the sun was setting. "I must hurry and leave," he said. "Please take this loaf as a gift to your father," said the mouse, waving him goodbye. "I hope that you will come again tomorrow." "Of course I'll return," assured the young man. "I would rather be here than anywhere else." He traveled back home with the loaf under his arm. That night around the dinner table, the oldest brother proudly handed the farmer a loaf of rye bread made by his sweetheart, and boasted, "See how hearty and well-baked it is." The second oldest brother handed the farmer some barley bread made by his sweetheart, and bragged, "My sweetheart's bread is crusty and healthy to eat." But when the youngest brother handed his father the fine loaf of wheaten bread, the farmer exclaimed, "Wheat bread? Only the richest among us eat wheat bread." The two older brothers bickered over who was to get the biggest piece of wheat bread and said, as they stuffed their mouths, "But there's no house in that woods for miles. What kind of sweetheart could you have found?" "One whose conversation can make me forget the time of day," replied the lad. "I am pleased that your sweethearts bake such fine bread," said the farmer. "Skillful hands add comfort to a home. Tomorrow I should like to see the kind of cloth they can weave." The next morning the lad set out again to visit the mouse in the woods. "Come in," said the little mouse when she heard him knock. She sang him a tune, and a smile spread across his face. "I wish you could weave as well as you bake and sing. But how could that be possible?" said the lad with a sigh. "My father would like to see the kind of cloth you make." "Love makes everything possible," said the mouse, clapping her paws. Once again 100 mice appeared as she said, "Fetch me strands of the finest flax." Each mouse quickly returned with 1 strand of flax. The little mouse spun the flax into thread on a tiny spinning wheel. The young man stared in amazement as she wove a fine piece of linen on a miniature loom. They kept company all afternoon, talking and laughing while she worked. The time sped by so quickly, the sun was setting before the young man realized it. "It's done," she finally said, folding the small patch of delicate cloth in a walnut shell. "Take it to your father as a gift, and I do hope your heart brings you here tomorrow." The lad left for home with the walnut shell tucked carefully in his pocket. That night, around the hearth fire, each brother brought forward the cloth made by their sweethearts. "Here is some coarse but sturdy cotton made by my love," boasted the first brother proudly. "Here is some cotton and linen weave made by my love, and it is fancier than yours," bragged the second brother. "Here is a walnut," said the youngest brother as his older brothers howled. He has no sweetheart. He's brought a forest nut instead of some cloth, they squealed.